Welcome back to Boruto Anime Review. This is episode number 37, and this one reviewing the 37th episode of Boruto, Naruto Next Generations, A Shinobi's Resolve. Yep, picking up right where last week's episode left off with Boruto in a snag, basically held down by Kakashi. And apparently it's like questioning like he doesn't have resolve, and then Iwambi Mitsuke show up. Yeah, Mitsuke throws a kunai at him, and of course Iwambi basically just throws up a mud wall, and basically tells him to secure location. And most of the classes there, except for like about a handful of them, they're basically held captive by Anko of all people. Yep. So basically, after sort of kind of mentioning stuff happening in the course of the series, like he won basically his Skulk in the corner. I like the fact that Sumori got a chance to actually get a word in edgewise, because if it had been for Boruto, she would not be alive right now. She probably would have been killed because of the whole ghost instance thing. So, yeah, and I will mention what the now they were given bandanas, these thin bandanas at the start of the previous episode. I will tell in a few minutes exactly what those things are. So they decided to go out again and basically free their classmates, which they held cap. Basically, it's which Chocho, Shikadai, Inogen, and a couple others. They free them, and of course they take out Anko with a bunch of tricks, and of course the Sumer got a chance to see her, which I think was really neat. And apparently, Metal Lee and Wambi, I think her name is, she's one of Susumori's two close friends. Apparently, those two are the fastest in the class, which, okay, that's interesting, because Metal Lee hasn't got that much development. And I thought this was really cool, the fact he did this. He actually uses one of his father's moves. He uses Leaf Hurricane, which I was so happy to see this move, because this was a move, basically, his father did. As far as I know, there were two other people who actually did this move. Naruto, who basically renamed it to the Uzumaki Barrage. And Sasuke used it too during the Chunin exams. Though Naruto uses his own move, though he changed the name of it. Because, well, why not? Though I've never seen him use it after a little while. It's a really cool move. And I love the fact that he does use it. And they all take out all their all the other teachers. Take out, like, I think it's, well, it's not this time Konohamaru is not taking on. Last episode he took on Sadara and Susumori. This one I think he took on, I think it was Boruto and Sadara, who apparently used transformation jutsu to sort of swap each other, like Sadara was posing as Boruto and Boruto was posing as Sadara, which I'm like, that's interesting. And they used transformation jutsu a few times, even just to fool Kakashi of all people. Well, since he doesn't have a Sharingan, he couldn't tell exactly who was who. And, of course, they put Sealing Jutsu on Konohamaru. Now, Shino is basically the up to the very end. I'll talk about him in a minute. So, they apparently were able to, for Konohamaru, they put the Sealing Jutsu on him. Before that, they apparently, because Sada was posing as Boruto, put him under a jutsu, and somehow they were able to get a kunai on his little target thing, no problem. And then they all gather up on Kakashi, put him under a sealing jutsu, and of course they first all pose. First is like first is Boruto and the Shadow Clone, and it's like, and Kakashi's like, I thought only 4 was your limit. It's like 20 of them, and it turns out it's actually just Boruto's class and posing as him. And then they get into all in certain spots, and then they all activate this massive sealing jutsu. And also, I'm trying to think what was his name, Wambi, I think her name is. She also used something that Tenten basically is never using. Basically, these summoning scrolls. Yeah, she's the only one I know basically use these summoning scrolls to basically summon stuff. Maybe they're teasing her to be this generation's Tenten. I don't know. It's a possibility. Yeah, so some of these other newer characters, not much is known about them at all. Also, it's revealed in this episode that Wambi is also medical. He also has skills to be a medical ninja, which I'm like, that's interesting. First time we knew anything about it. because it seems like outside of the children who are basically outside of like the core characters of the show, which basically, if you look at the way the show works, the core characters are Boruto, Sadara, Mitsuki, Iwambi, Dekai, Chocho, Shigadai, Inojin, Sasumori. I think that's it. Yeah, there's like core 7 characters. If you want to include Wambi and her other friend, fine. But otherwise, though, not much else for core characters. Unlike in the previous generation, you have the core set of 12 characters. This one is just, it looks like for these this generation, it looks like it's a core 7 characters. Yeah. And that's really it. Just a core set of 7 characters. Not, well, if you want to include, Metal in there as well. Basically, you get overall 10 main characters for this series, like core 10, unlike in the previous one, which was basically a dozen. And usually, there's usually a couple of characters who don't get much development over the course of the thing. And so far, there's basically 3 characters over the course of these 37 episodes who've gotten very little development. One is Wambi. First time I actually know her name. The other, of course, is the other woman. I don't remember her name. She's another friend of Sasumori's. And Metal Lee. Yeah, these 3 don't get much development at all. There's a few other characters. One basically, dresses like he's freaking Kakashi. No idea who this character is. There is another one, looks like she covers up half her face with something. I don't know who she is. Yeah, she's the only other woman in the class, and yeah, it seems like half the characters, I have no idea who these characters are. Like Sasumori, for example. I didn't know her name until about halfway through the Ghost arc, and yet she's been appearing since episode 1, because all they kept calling was class rep, and then like halfway through, they finally call her by her actual name, which I think is kind of weak for the show. Like, I kind of blame that on the writing for the show, basically, for half the time we don't know who these characters are, but at least we have one character. We kind of got a little bit of development of her in the previous episode. I think it was a couple episodes back. We get a little bit of development for her. This one we get a little bit more development, basically feeling the whole medical ninja stuff, and the fact that she can also summon stuff as well, like Tenten can, which I think is great. So they all defeat Kakashi, and then he said they all pass because they have because apparently this whole exam. What was a Genin exam? Yep. That's what the exam was. And then, and they all line up against it because they all passed. So they all line up, and of course they don't want to talk because it's too tired to talk because they worked all night. And then Shino does something unexpected, his release. And it turns out all their bandanas are their ninja headbands. I'm like, wow. It took 37 episodes to finally get their ninja headbands, unlike in Naruto, where they gave him his headband roughly in the pilot episode per se, but he didn't start fully wearing it to episode 3 because he was still wearing his goggles. Though basically for his ninja headband, that was given to him by Iruka, which, by the way, I should point out that Iruka does appear in this episode, and he doesn't wear a ninja headband. No, he does not. As with pretty much everybody else, people who are like children of previous generation characters, they wear their headband pretty much where their parents wore, like Boruto wore his on his forehead. Mitsuki pretty much wears the same place that his father, Orochimaru, wore when he was a Hidden Leaf Ninja, basically on his forehead. Shigadai wears his on his arm. His father did the same thing. Chocho and Inojin. As far as I could tell for these two, Inojin, his parents never wore their headbands on their head. I think that, if I could think, I think Sai didn't get his ninja headband until much later, because if I remember, he didn't have much. I think he did wear. I think he's kind of act like his father, where I think he wore his ninja headband on his head, like on his forehead. His mother basically wore it like a belt. Rock Lee did the same thing. But Sadara does something different. Her mother always wore her headband on top of her head, never in the front of her head. And also, I thought this was really neat, the fact that all ninja headbands are all different colors. Which I'm like, that is ingenious. Because when the previous generation, all the ninja headbands during part 1, they were all the same exact color. Blue with the Ninja League thing. This time, they look a little bit bigger. Yeah, it's like the metal, basically, they made the metal bigger, and they're kind of like, not like what they used to be, they're like tied, and these are like slip-on ones. Which, okay, that's different. Yeah, so, and of course, Sadara's is red, like her mother's. Though, as far as I know, when Sakura's last seen, she's not wearing a ninja headband anymore. Probably because she's like semi-retired, that's my guess. But it's great the fact they finally got their headbands. It took them long enough. So, with this episode, pretty much the whole thing with Ninja Academy stuff, that is all officially wrapped up. Started with the next episode, it's a new chapter, which is the formation of the three-man cells. Which the name of the next episode is Formation of Three-Man Squads, which the kind of explanation for that. Now, in the original series, it took until both in Chapter 3 of the manga and Chapter 3 of the Episode 3 of the anime to pretty much have the formation of the three-man cells. That's simply how it worked. In this one, they waited 38 episodes and to finally do, which, hey, at least it got a little bit of development to figure out exactly what the heck these kids were up to prior to getting their ninja headbands. And it looks like in the next episode from the trailer I saw of it, looks like that Naruto's going to show up. Ashima and Kurenai's daughter, Mary's going to show up, making her first ever appearance in the series. The only reason I know it's her because her hair is basically, it's her. And it can't be Kiba's girlfriend. It can't be her at all. Because, well, this woman has raven hair, and I think that Kiba's lover basically is a brunette. So, yeah, Mary makes her first appearance in the actual anime. Because she did make an appearance in the manga. She made her first appearance, I think it was in the first chapter of the manga that had nothing to... I think it was chapter 14. Excuse me, yeah, which was the first chapter of the Boruto manga. Excuse me, set right after the movie. And from what I've heard, it is a definite they are going to readapt the actual Boruto film. But, as far as I know for upcoming solicits, well, at least synopsis for the next upcoming episodes, well, next week's episode is the formation of three-man cells, which, awesome. And then the following episode, a couple friends of mine basically are so happy that they're finally doing this in this series. We waited long enough for this. In episode 39, I have heard from a website that episode is going to be an adaptation of the Mitsuge one-shot, which I'm like, huh, that's ingenious. It took them long enough, but it's about frickin' time they actually do it. Though they waited 39 episodes and finally do this. So that episode's actually in 2 weeks. Yep, it's in 2 weeks. And as far as I can tell for the schedule, there won't be an episode airing for January 3rd, which is like 2 days after New Year's. Yeah, I'm like, okay, so apparently they're taking a week off, which, out of all the episodes that have aired so far, this is the second time they've actually taken a week off for the anime. Yeah, and because the season is 37 episodes in, which makes this one, as far as I can tell, longer than almost every single episode, every single season for the original Naruto show, except for season 4, because that was like 52 episodes. And most of Naruto Shippuden. Yeah, most of it. Let me look it up and see exactly, what was, let's see. For Naruto Shippuden, let's see, because this season is 37 episodes in, and there's no sign basically they're going to end the season at a certain point and just have a new season. As far as I know, they're not. Yep. So, because this season is 37 episodes in, it's longer, from what I can tell, than pretty much almost every single season that's aired for Shippuden, except for season 20, which, that is amazing. Mm-hmm. Yep. As in the case of Naruto, let's see, it is, I think season 4 was by far the longest. I have to look it up here just to be sure. Yeah, 4 was 54 episodes. I think 5 was like 35. Yeah, 5 was 35. So, 48. Okay, so 48, 35. Okay, so correction. It is longer than almost every single season for Shippuden, and it is longer than the first season of Naruto. Okay, that's interesting. So, it is by far, if you combine all the seasons for Naruto, this one's by far the let's see, I'd say probably by far, if you count this as part of the seasons for Naruto in a ways for the whole franchise, even though it's a separate show, out of the combined seasons, well, I would say it's the third longest because longest is season 20 for Naruto Shippuden. Second longest is seasons uh 2, 3, uh 2, 3, and 5. Those are tied for actually third longest. Second longest season 4. So I would say this is the fourth longest season for a Naruto show, which hey, you gotta praise it for that. Yep. And if you look it up, it is longer than pretty much almost every single season for Shippuden, and longer than season 1 for Naruto, which that's great. Yep. But what would it ever surpass in any other seasons? I have no idea. Also, I have no idea at what point the season is going to end because, as far as I can tell, it's still listed as season 1. So, yeah. Unlike in the case of the previous shows, they had a particular set of episodes, and this one is roughly like 37 episodes in, and there is currently no signs of it ending. No, not necessarily. But as far as I can tell, but maybe at some certain point they might say that when they change the opening theme, that could say that could be the end of season 1. I don't know. I mean, they didn't change the opening theme till like around the hidden. I think it was after I think it was after the Sadara Guy Dead arc. I think that's when they finally changed the opening theme of the anime. But yeah. Um, maybe after maybe next episode, even though they probably won't say it, maybe it's an adaptation of that Road to Boruto one shot, which is basically the bell training mission. Maybe that's can be after the Mitsuki one shot. I don't know. It's just a theory. Because aside from the Boruto film and probably of course adapting the most recent chapters that came out for the Boruto manga, I would say that's probably like the only thing left. Because after they adapt Mitsuki and readapt the Boruto movie, I would say before they get to adapting the Boruto film, I would probably say the next episode. This is just a theory that the next episode that's going to be this is probably going to be episode 40, maybe 40, maybe 42. It's probably going to be adaptation of the Road to Boruto one shot, which is basically the Team Konohamaru going to the bell training mission. I think this is necessary, but I think it's probably one of those 3 episodes. That's just a theory right now. I don't have any evidence to support that, but I really do think this one shot should be adapted due to the fact that there has to be a bell training mission. They did this at the start of the Naruto show where they had a bell training mission. We're trying to get the bells from Kashi. They did the same thing during the first season of Naruto Shippuden, where they had a bell training mission. And of course, Kashi only carried 2 bells. And I feel as though this particular type of thing is necessary because it was shown in flashback when the third Hokage was training his 3-man cell, which consisted of Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru. They went through the bell training mission. Jiraiya failed that one, and he got tied up for it and had to basically eat his own lunch, and basically had to watch Tsunade and Orochimaru eat their lunch, and he of course was left starving. So that is just a theory that they're probably going to do that. I don't know. I would think that they would adapt this one because it's necessary to Naruto lore that you gotta have the main team of the franchise, basically who's probably going to get the most amount of development over the course of the entire series, which in the case of the previous generation, it was Team 7, which the original was Naruto, Sasuke, and Sadara. That's other Sakura, where they get these three characters a lot of development, plus a few other characters along with them. Like outside of that team, Team Ashima got a bunch of development. In the case of Team Koronai, just Hanada got the most development. The other two didn't give much of a crap developing them at all. And of course, Team Guy, all three of them got a good amount of development over the course of the series, despite the fact in the case of Tenten, it was mostly in filler episodes. But she got a good amount of development. Gotta praise the anime for that. In the case of this one, it might be the same type of way. I have no idea. That's just a theory. I have heard, before I end this video, I have heard that I have heard that two of the other three-man cells. Now, the first three-man cell, this is a definite. Team Konohamaru, and this is basically already in the Boruto film. The Team Konohamaru is going to be, of course, besides Konohamaru, Boruto, Mitsuki, and Sadara. That one's confirmed. Mogi, an old friend of Konohamaru, was part of his entourage because in his second appearance, almost any time Konohamaru showed up, he always had these two people with him. Mogi is the redhead who always hung out with him, and there's been a rumor swirling that she may have had developed an attraction to him. Yeah, it's just a theory. It's some fan theory that someone came up with. Her team is going to be Inogen, Shikadai, and Chocho. That's going to be her team. That has been confirmed from what I can tell for three-man teams. I have heard another three-man team is going to be Metal Lee, Iwambi, and Dekai. That's going to be another three-man team. And of course, Sasumi is going to join a tech firm, be a tech ninja. But in the case of her two friends, I don't really know what's going to happen to them because they haven't revealed exactly what's going to happen to them. We probably will find out in the next episode per se, but at least two of the teams basically, at least three of the teams, who they are, who's going to be on these particular teams, but at least two of them basically who the senseis are, that has already been confirmed. But as in the case of the third one, which is basically Middle Lee, Dekai, and Wambi, don't know who their sensei is going to be. They're probably going to reveal that in the next episode. That's just a theory. Alright. I have heard something that Shikadai, from a synopsis I've read, Shikadai is basically thought she was going to be the same team as Boruto, but I guess he's a little surprised at that, but that's simply the way it is when it comes to that. But I know the reason why that he's put with Chocho and Inogen, because it's a family tradition for their three clans to constantly work together on these three-man cells. Basically, their grandfathers also worked together, and their respective, for Inogen's mom, Shikadai's father, and Chocho's father also were on the three-man team as well, so basically it makes sense to do it for another generation. So, these two were kind of confirmed, basically hinted very early on, but as what Sensei would be, we didn't know that until I found out basically some info was going to be Mogi. Okay, fine. I didn't really know her name at all because half the time I kept forgetting her name. And there was another guy who was a friend of theirs. He wore glasses, and I thought this was really kind of gross. He constantly had snot hanging out of his nose. I don't know what his name is. Maybe he's going to take command of the other three-man team. I don't know. We might find out next week's episode, okay? So, that is it for this one. So yeah, this was a good episode. A good wrap-up, pretty much most of the storyline that's been going on throughout the series so far. And at the end of the Ninja Academy stuff, and start next week's episode, it's the start of a new era for the Boruto anime. The three-man cell thing, the Mitsuki stuff, the Bell Chain mission, I hope, and of course the Boruto film, and then of course probably going to start adapting the Boruto manga. The manga is currently only about 18 chapters in, but here's the thing, only the most recent 5 chapters actually are set after the film because the first 13 chapters are just an adaptation of the Boruto film with no change. I think they made one change. They may change the ending. They may adapt that ending. They may use that ending for the Boruto anime. Plus, of course, they're probably got to throw in new characters anyways and probably have it play out pretty much like the original film. But it's not the first time, basically, people have seen it, where they take a good film and they readapt it to an arc of an anime. Dragon Ball Super did this for its first 2 arcs, where the last 2 films that were released were adapted into at least 2 major arcs of the entire series. So, this is not a big surprise. People have been expecting this. But, yeah. There's that. So, that's it for this video. Stay tuned for next week, which will be Next week's episode will be Formation of 3-Man Cells. And there will be one 2 weeks from now, basically, about the Mainscape one-shot. But 3 weeks from now, there will not be an episode review because we're doing an episode. Okay? But until I see you on my next episode for this series, and of course in the video, bye.